Hey everyone. In this video clip here, for as a refresher, thought I'd go over the a strategic planning process, just a very broad one, and just kind of do it in outline form here, but get you thinking. So first off, typically, what we want to do is define what our vision, our mission, and our values are. So for an example, if we're looking at this is kind of like north on the compass for you and I. And so what we're looking at here, when we say mission, I think the example, well, let's back up. Let's even go back to vision even. If I had to think of an example of explaining a vision, it's a picture of where you see the future, where you want it to be. So a good example would be like Elon Musk has a vision of putting a colony on Mars. That's what he sees as a picture for the future and what he sees as a successful vision. The mission is the steps on the way there. So wants to land and put a colony on Mars. And the mission is the major steps that we're going to have to go through and accomplish to be able to land somebody and colonize Mars. So, of course, it has started with a reusable rocket. And then it was the second thing was being able to dock with the International Space Station. Now we're working on the major step of being able to get a booster rocket that's going to be able to go to Mars. And so the mission are the major things that have to occur to accomplish that vision. The values part of that conversation is how we're going to operate. So the values might be on a very, not in this example, but for a business, it might be similar to the golden rule. We always want to do what's right, do our best, treat others the way we want to treat them, or as we want to be treated when we're doing our vision and mission as well. So that's kind of what vision and mission and values are. And then the second step in the process is we have to start gathering information. And we have to gather information both internally as well as externally. So from an internal standpoint, what we're looking at is what are our strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats, and what kind of skill sets do we have? What kind of capabilities do we have? What kind of resources do we have available? Well, let's do an accounting and an understanding of that so we can understand kind of what the lay is of the land for us inside the company. Externally, we're going out to understand the marketplace. We're asking lots of questions in terms of who's doing what, where folks may be frustrated, where there's lack of an answer, missing opportunities. We're going to start asking questions like that. And in industry attractiveness, do I want to get into this? Are profit margins growing? Who are the competitors going on in that area? Let's gather all this information. And when we pull that information together and start kind of discussing it as amongst ourselves as colleagues, we start to see opportunities pop out where people have said, golly, it'd be nice if we did this. Or we see repeated comments externally from customers saying, I'm frustrated by this. And we go, ooh, we got a skill set that can handle that. That's an opportunity out there. So with that, we're able to set our objectives on what we want to accomplish. And from there, then we start developing the strategy itself. Now, there's many definitions that are out there for strategy. The one I like is the one by, I think it's A.G. Lafley is the author's name, two-time CEO of Procter & Gamble. He talked about strategy as this. It's where do you want to play? How do you want to win? And what's your plan to get there? And I find that very easy to understand from a strategy. And so that really helps me frame what do I want to accomplish and how am I going to get the business and all those kind of things. The next one typically then is we have to go out and do it. We have to go out and execute on the strategy. Now, the thing I want you to think about there is we still have to get done our daily work and that stuff, but our daily work is going to change while we try to implement the strategy. And so if the strategy takes us in a new direction, we still have to take care of today's business as well as start doing those things to put in place the new direction we want to go. And then on top of it, we have to transition over our work to that new way of doing business too. So it's not a complete swap out instantaneously of how we do work. It's more of a transition that has to go on, moving from what we do today to where we want to do business or how we want to do business in the future. And so, of course, for a last step, we're always monitoring, we're always watching how we're doing. We're trying to assess with what we're seeing. How did we perform? How are we performing now? What does it look like coming down the road? And then we're going to have to correct plans as we go forward. Now, realize also correcting our plans doesn't mean we did anything wrong. We may find that what we did is very successful, and correction is really adjustment, is what's going on there, because we need to tweak to bring other new activities in alignment with this new way of doing business so we can build upon our success. So this is a very broad way of looking at, what makes up strategy in general for any kind of business.